President Trump is hinting that he might have a deal done with China before Thanksgiving to sell more corn and soybeans grown by American farmers. But there is no guarantee.
And even if there is a deal, it may be too late for some local farmers. The stock market is up, but so are farm bankruptcies. ABC 6 News Good Morning anchor Ross Becker has a special report tonight called Trouble in the Fields.
What happens on the farm affects all of us. It's dear to my heart. My grandfather had a farm in Wisconsin, and growing up, I went there, and I even worked there during the summers, helping with all the hard work. And now farmers are drowning in debt, uncertain about the political future, and wondering about climate change and getting the cold shoulder from some of the banks. Well, we went to some of the farmers here in Fillmore County to find out why, for hundreds of farmers, this year may be the end of the line. Driving down the county roads of southeastern Minnesota, you see miles and miles of mostly corn and soybeans. But the farmers who work this land see it differently. For them, it's their livelihoods, their legacies, their family history. Farming is their passion and their business. And right now, some are in trouble.
Farmers are an easy target.
There is plenty of blame to go around. President Trump and the China tariffs, environmentalists and their rules, the battle over ethanol, the banks and financing, and, of course, the weather. This year, it is a perfect storm of problems, and some farmers won't survive. Scott Winslow knows he is one of the lucky ones here in Fillmore County. His family has farmed this land for, get this, 185 years. That's 6 generations of Winslows.
You know, we've been throwing a lot of curveballs, and you just go on.
But Winslow says this year, for some of his fellow farmers in southeastern Minnesota, it will be impossible to just go on. Instead, they will go under. You're going to be able to sell this corn and make any money?
Oh, well, I don't know about making money.
Farm income is down, way down, $9 billion down nationwide, according to the Farm Bureau. Why? The farmers say it's not one thing, but the trade war with China is the main thing. As they harvest corn and primarily soybeans this year, China hasn't been buying as much of it because of the tariffs. So the price is down, and who knows if that's going to change anytime soon. The last time there was a trade war, wheat, in the 1980s with Russia, Minnesota lost 10,000 farms. Farm leaders say that could happen here again. I talked with Spring Valley area farmer Dan Miller as we walked around his family farm. He has cattle and grows soybeans and hay. The farmhouse here was built from a kit bought from the Sears catalog by the Millers' ancestors in 1918. It was carried into Spring Valley by horses. It is still standing, and the Millers are still here farming.
It was more fun about 6 years ago when net farm income was better. Right now it's about half what it was in 2013. So it's been declining, and that's squeezed farmers and made it more stressful and more of a challenge.
Miller is also a farm management instructor at Riverland Community College, so he talks to a lot of farmers every week. And he says it's true. This year, because of the China trade war and the wet weather, 20% of southeastern Minnesota farmers might go under. He says they can't keep borrowing to keep farming. Farmers can't borrow their way to prosperity, can they?
Exactly, but unfortunately, to some extent, as a short-term stopgap strategy, that's what is happening.
But now it's catching up to them, he says. Borrowing too much for too long is going to do them in. Miller says farmers need a clear policy on ethanol from President Trump. He says we need to know if our corn markets will keep growing. He says we need an end to the trade war with China. We need clear and realistic environmental rules. Farmers have always taken care of the land, he says.
A lot of rural Minnesota has been definitely in support of the president and the policies. However, as the prices continue to stay depressed, it's become a bit more challenge to be profitable, and I think patience is diminishing a little bit.
Scott Winslow says if he had the chance to walk into the Oval Office and talk to President Trump, he would thank him for making some tough decisions that could help farmers in the future. But
rough out here, and you know, we've been throwing a lot of curveballs, and you just go on. We come back every year, we plant every year, and one way or another it gets sold and it gets moved and we start over.
But some this year cannot start over. The money and the luck has run out. The land will be sold or leased, and someone else will try to make money with it. What happens around the world and in Washington, D.C. makes a huge difference on what happens on the county roads of southeastern Minnesota.
So when something's going wrong in the world, or in the U.S. especially, it's the farmers' fault. They always find a way to point the finger at us.
So, the farmers are pleading with environmentalists and politicians to just leave them alone. They say they're going to take care of the land. After all, it's their future, too. They say, come on, make a final deal with China so American commodities will become more valuable again. They say, help us open other markets like India and Vietnam. They need corn and soybeans, too. And most importantly, they tell me, be consistent. It's hard enough dealing with the unpredictable weather. But here's the thing to remember. Farmers have always dealt with adversity, and they've always adapted. The ones who do survive, the ones who won't or can't, will go away. And this year might be the breaking point for many of them. Ross Becker, ABC 6 News.